Now, once again, we have ourselves a new franchise, and like usual, when we have a new franchise, we don't have any players. 0 overalls across the board. These guys don't even know how to tie their skates, let alone play hockey, but we don't have to worry, because every season we're going to be adding a new player, and today we're going to be adding these players based on their former teammates. Now, if we want to bring former teammates to the team, we do have to start with one NHL player. So which NHL player do I want to start with? Well, I could make this very simple and just go with Connor McDavid. We start off with a 97 overall. That would be amazing. However, I'm going to go with the guy who has made it clear that he is retiring at the end of the season. And who is that player going to be? Anze Kopitar. Anze Kopitar has officially announced that this is going to be his final NHL season, so we're going to be starting with Kopitar. And in case you were wondering why Kopitar is going to be retiring at the end of the season, well, it's very clear. He watched the moves that Ken Holland made over the offseason. He watched this man bring in Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin, and not only did he give both of these guys term, but he gave them no movement clauses. So after Kopitar saw that, he said, nah, one more season, that's all I have in me. I'm going to retire at the end of the year. I can't deal with this nonsense anymore. And Kopitar, I don't blame you. Now, before we bring any of Kopitar's teammates to the team, we got to see if this man can win a Stanley Cup by himself. Can he win with 0 overall players? I think there's a possibility. I think there's a possibility that Kopitar wins. I'm just lying. I'm lying to all of you right now. We're going to be lucky if this man takes a shot this season. So let's just go ahead, absolutely tank this season. I mean, technically we can't really tank, because what is tanking going to do for us? It's not like we're going to get the first overall pick or anything. So yeah, Kopitar, good luck with this team. Now in season number 1, it's no surprise, the BC Lumberjacks are going to be the worst team in the entire league. They're not going to be scoring any goals this season. I guess the real question is, Kopitar, did you take any shots? I'm sorry, but ain't no way Mordecai and Hikaru Agata are going to be the 2 guys picking up shots this season. 2 0 overalls were able to pick up shots, but not Kopitar. Nah, this game is disrespecting my man. You can't be telling me Kopitar is not taking any shots, but some 0 overalls will be. That is some wild disrespect. But with season number 1 in the books, it's time for us to add a former teammate of Anze Kopitar. Now, there's certainly going to be a handful of options to work with, but I already have a plan in mind. Now, when it comes to bringing in a former teammate of Anze Kopitar, there's going to be a lot of different options we can go with. But as I just mentioned, I already have a plan in mind when it comes to building this team. So the first player we're going to bring into the team that was a former teammate of Anze Kopitar is going to be Tyler Toffoli. Now, out of all the options, why am I going with Tyler Toffoli? Well, you'll understand this selection when it comes to our next selection, because when it comes to the next player I'm bringing in, I'm not going to be bringing in a former teammate of Anze Kopitar. I'm going to be bringing in a former teammate of Tyler Toffoli. So there's definitely some method in the madness when it comes to this selection. Tyler Toffoli, welcome to the team. You actually mean more than you realize. So these are the lines that we're going to be running this season. Of course, it's going to be Kopitar and Tyler Toffoli on the top line. That is what a logical person would do. There is no way that our head coach preferred lines is going to have Tyler Toffoli on the second line. Nope, that would never happen. Our coach would never do that. What is bro trying to cook up here? Tyler Toffoli, you're playing first line minutes. What are we talking about? Now, it's no surprise that we're still not picking up any wins this season, but we did score 5 goals, so there's something we can celebrate. 5 goals were scored by the BC Lumberjacks this season. Of course, Kopitar's picking up 5 points. Tyler Toffoli's going to be picking up 5 points. And then Mordo, he's doing his thing. 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points. When in doubt, when you need a big-time player to step up for you, Mordecai's going to be the guy to do so. When it comes to goaltending, Ricky Lafleur, Eric Hartman, you posted numbers. They're not numbers we're going to talk about, but you certainly posted them. Now, although those goaltending numbers didn't look that great, we don't have to worry about that anymore, because Tyler Toffoli used to play for the Winnipeg Jets. He played there for a slight period of time, so that means one of his former teammates was Connor Hellebuyck. Now, Tyler Toffoli, you might not have been there long, but you did play 18 games with the Winnipeg Jets, meaning Connor Hellebuyck is a former teammate of yours, so that's who we're bringing to the team. Connor Hellebuyck, welcome to the team, a 94 overall goaltender. We're basically set when it comes to the goaltending department. Yes, we're going to need a backup in the future, but I don't think we're going to have to worry too much. Like a 94 overall as our starter, yeah, we're looking good early on. So Connor Hellebuyck, you're the starter moving forward. 94 overall, Hellebuyck's going to be our savior. We could potentially be looking at an overtime loss this season. I have seen this man absolutely lock in, not really too much in the postseason, but during the regular season, I have seen this man lock in. So let's see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, we're officially back. NHL 26 is crashing, our first crash of the year. It's a historic moment. But yeah, we're not going to get through this season. Clearly, we're not going to be making it to overtime. Connor Hellebuyck, it's time for us to get one of your former teammates. Now, when it comes to the former teammates I'm bringing to the team, everything is coming off the dome. It's whoever I can remember that was a former teammate of this player. And one person that I know was a former teammate of Connor Hellebuyck, currently plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And who is that player? Well, that player is Sean Monahan. Now, you might be wondering, why exactly am I going to be bringing 86 overall Sean Monahan to the team? It's because of who we can select after Sean Monahan. You can't just be thinking one step ahead or even two steps ahead. You have to be thinking 5 steps ahead, and that's exactly what I'm doing with this selection. So now that we have Sean Monahan on the team, we officially have a complete forward line, and I already know exactly what you're thinking. I already know you're thinking I'm going to bring Matthew Tkachuk to the team next, since he was a former teammate of Sean Monahan. But you are wrong. Matthew Tkachuk is actually not going to be the next player we bring to the team. Instead, I have somebody else in mind. Alright, Sean Monahan, you're actually not going to help me whatsoever, because we're not even going to be able to get through the season. Back-to-back crashes. We're definitely in the NHL cycle now. So when I brought Sean Monahan to the team, I'm assuming that a majority of people thought I was going to be bringing Matthew Tkachuk to the team next. That is not going to be the case. Instead, we're going to head over to the Vegas Golden Knights, and Noah Hanifin is going to be brought to the team. Now, I am going about this in a specific order, because if I didn't bring Noah Hanifin to the team, that actually changes one of our selections like 3 players from now. So Noah Hanifin, you have to be brought in right now. 89 overall defenseman. You're going to be our new top guy. So Noah Hanifin, you're the first defenseman brought to the team. You're going to be surrounded with 0 overall players, but one of those 0 overall players is Mordecai. So that's basically like playing with a 99 overall. Also, if you're tired of this game crashing on me all the time, then just subscribe to the channel. If you sub to the channel, then the game will stop crashing. Now, why wouldn't you sub to the channel? Look what happened because you didn't subscribe. The game's going to be crashing again. It's getting ridiculous. Now, since Noah Hanifin was our last selection, I'm allowed to bring in one of his former teammates, and he actually shares a former teammate with Sean Monahan. So who are we going to be picking up? It was only a matter of time. We're off to the Florida Panthers, and Matthew Tkachuk has joined the team. Now, why didn't I select Matthew Tkachuk as Sean Monahan's former teammate, and then just bring in Noah Hanifin as Matthew Tkachuk's former teammate? Well, the reason for all of this is because of the player we're going to select as Matthew Tkachuk's former teammate. I was thinking 4 players ahead when it came to that Sean Monahan selection. Things are all going according to plan. Now, although the forward core is definitely shaping up here with the addition of Matthew Tkachuk, none of this means anything if we can't get through the season. Why does this game keep on crashing? I have no clue, but there's no reason we should crash here. I think it's time we finally get through another complete season. Now, it's an absolute miracle. We finally made it to the end of the season. We had an 81-1 record, 81 losses, 1 OT loss. So we either lost in overtime or a shootout to somebody. I don't know which it was. All I know is this team finally got through the entire season. We lost a game in either overtime or a shootout. We're starting to take steps in the right direction. Connor Hellebuyck, 55 losses, 1 OT loss, a 923 and a 443. These numbers are actually a lot better than I was expecting. Like, considering how many 0 overalls are still on this team, I wasn't really expecting us to be too good. But I need to know who we either lost to in overtime or a shootout. I know for a fact it was after the trade deadline, but which team exactly was it? Well, it's going to be the Nashville Predators. They're going to beat us 2-1 in a shootout. You really couldn't take us down regulation. That's a tough look for you. So we are finally able to get through an entire season, but now we have to bring in one of Matthew Tkachuk's former teammates. And who is that teammate going to be? Brandon Montour. He was there for a couple of the Stanley Cup runs. One when they won, one when they lost, but Brandon Montour was certainly there for them. Now he's going to be joining the BC Lumberjacks, and he's going to be a great addition to the team. We're finally going to be able to run a complete lineup. The Lumberjacks are really shaping up right now. So Noah Hanifin, Brandon Montour, you're going to be our new number 1 pairing. An 87 overall and an 89 overall. That's certainly something we can work with, but in the future, I'm going to want 2 better players than this. Now, we have prayed for times like this, and I'm not talking about us winning 1 game, but back-to-back seasons where we didn't crash. It's a glorious day. I didn't think it would be possible, but here we are. Matthew Tkachuk, 61 points, Tyler Toffoli, 52, Anze Kopitar, 49, Brandon Montour, 33, Noah Hanifin, 26, and then Sean Monahan, you're picking up 5 points because you have basically no help. I'm not putting any blame on you whatsoever. Connor Hellebuyck, 1 win this season, a 904 and a 531. I need to know who we beat. I need to know which team we took down. The Colorado Avalanche are Stanley Cup champions. Who did the BC Lumberjacks beat during the regular season? And why do I feel like it was probably the St. Louis Blues? I feel like there's a very good chance it was the St. Louis Blues. We're going to lose to them in overtime, but the Nashville Predators, I think this was the exact same game last season. We lost in a shootout. We're going to get our get back against the Nashville Predators. We're beating them in overtime. Absolute frauds. Now, when it comes to a former teammate of Brandon Montour, we could keep this really simple and just go back to the Florida Panthers and get a superstar. But I don't want to do that. I want to pick a player from another franchise that Brandon Montour played with. So we're going to head over to the Buffalo Sabres, and we can either go with Rasmus Dahlin or Tage Thompson. Both of these guys would be great additions to the team, and I think we're going to go with Rasmus Dahlin because in a matter of a couple players, we're going to be walking away with one of the best in the league. Actually, we will be walking away with the best in the league. So this is what the defensive core is shaping up to be. Rasmus Dahlin, Brandon Montour, Noah Hanifin. This is going to be an elite defense, but our forward core is about to get significantly better. Maybe not with the next player we bring in, but 2 players from now, we're going to be looking at a superstar. Now, it looks like the success is going to keep on coming for the BC Lumberjacks. 4 wins this season, a 4-76-2 record. 3 of those wins coming in regulation. We're finally winning some games now. Matthew Tkachuk was almost a point a game, 78 points this season, 30 goals, 48 helpers. Tower Toffoli, 32 goals, 35 helpers. It was a good thing I brought you to the team. And Onsai Kopitar, 66 points. The boys are absolutely rolling right now. And then Connor Hellebuyck, 2 shutouts. Who on earth did you shut out? And why do I know one of them was the St. Louis Blues? I know how this works. I have seen it time and time again. The St. Louis Blues got shut out, and I already know it. Now, it looks like all of our wins came fairly early in the year. One of the shutouts is going to be against the Utah Mammoth. We're going to be taking them down 2-0. And then when it comes to the other shutout, it's going to be a week earlier against the Minnesota Wild, a 1-0 victory over them. We kind of went on a heater during this 2-week stretch where we won all 4 of our games. All 4 of our wins came in this 2-week stretch right here. Besides these 2 weeks, we weren't good. But that's about to change because with our next player, I am bringing in the most questionable selection of all time. But like always, there's method in the madness. Now this next player we're bringing to the team is certainly not going to be a superstar, and they're actually going to be the second San Jose Shark player we're bringing in today. So if we're bringing in multiple players from the Sharks, you already know we're not bringing in superstars. But Jeff Skinner, you are here for one reason and one reason alone. You are one of Connor McDavid's former teammates. So I'm going to bring you to the team just so we can get Connor McDavid with our next player. So Skinner, as an 82 overall, you might not have a lot of value, but considering you're going to be giving us Connor McDavid next, you have so much value, it's ridiculous. So here we go. Kopitar, Toffoli, Matthew Tkachuk, Sean Monahan, Jeff Skinner. That's going to be the top 6 right now. Sassy the Sasquatch is going to round out that top 6. I don't think there's going to be a ton of success had this season, but just wait till we bring Connor McDavid to the team. Now, I feel like this really shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but Jeff Skinner, you're not really going to be helping us at all. Well, I guess you're not going to be helping us record-wise, because you are about to help us a ton, because now we're bringing in a former teammate of Jeff Skinner, and we all know who I'm bringing to the team. It's Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid's going to be brought to the team. I don't care who won the Stanley Cup. It's the Minnesota Wild. Connor McDavid, welcome to the BC Lumberjacks. So this is going to be an amazing addition to the team. Connor McDavid, you're definitely going to be the best player on this team moving forward. I'm not going to get anyone better than Connor McDavid because he is the best player in the NHL. 97 overall Connor McDavid is going to save this franchise. So Connor McDavid, you're going to be the centerpiece moving forward. McDavid, Matthew Tkachuk, and Tower Toffoli on the top line. Skinner, Kopitar, and Sean Monahan on the second line. Looking at the defense, Rasmus Dahlin, Brandon Montour, Noah Hanifin. It's only a matter of time before this team right here wins the Stanley Cup. The only thing I'm slightly concerned about is postseason Hellebuyck. But you know what? We're going to have an incredible team in front of him. There is no way he folds. Or at least that's what I'm praying for. Now, with Connor McDavid being on the team, are you really surprised we're turning it around? 12 wins this season. The St. Louis Blues were second last in the entire league. I guess some things never change. NHL games will continue to disrespect my St. Louis Blues, and I guess I just have to live with it. Connor McDavid, 91 points. Matthew Tkachuk, 79. Kopitar, 57. Tower Toffoli, 52. The offense is looking good. We just have to improve the defense here. I mean, one step at fixing our defense is improving the bottom 6 on our forward core, because we still have a lot of 0 overalls there. However, Connor McDavid isn't known for having a ton of former teammates that are elite defensively. However, he does have one former teammate he played alongside a long time ago that we're bringing to the team, and this might be a player that you didn't realize Connor McDavid played with. Alright, never mind, we are not going with the player I was originally going to select, because I was going to go with Anthony Stolarz, because back during the 2018-2019 season, Anthony Stolarz played a couple games for the Edmonton Oilers. He played 6 games with them, meaning he was a teammate of Connor McDavid, but we're not going with Stolarz, but instead I have changed my selection. We're going to the Detroit Red Wings. We're still going to be bringing a goaltender to the team, but this one's going to be Cam Talbot. So Cam Talbot's going to be our 85 overall backup. Cam Talbot has played for a lot of different teams in the NHL, meaning he's played with a lot of great players. So there's going to be a ton of great former teammates we can go with from Cam Talbot, and by selecting Cam Talbot here, McDavid, you're going to have another superstar join the team pretty quick. So our goaltending tandem is likely set for the rest of the video. Connor Hellebuyck and Cam Cam Talbot are the guys we're going to be running with. A 94 and then an 85 overall backup. I think we can work with that. Now, with the addition of Cam Talbot, it shouldn't be any surprise we're going to be winning some more games this season. A 10-70-2 record, 160 goals scored this season, only 405 allowed. I like how I said only 405 allowed, like we didn't allow that many goals. We allowed over 400 goals. Now we got to work on the defense here. However, with the next addition to the team, we're not going to be working on the defense at all, but instead, what is the best defense? An elite offense. And with Cam Talbot playing for a handful of teams in the NHL, there's going to be a lot of players to go with. Now, Cam Talbot has played for a lot of teams in the NHL, but one of the teams he played for was the Minnesota Wild, meaning Kirill Kaprizov is a former teammate of his. 94 overall Kaprizov is going to be an amazing pickup. Him and Connor McDavid on the top line alongside Matthew Tkachuk. Yeah, all of them are picking up 100 points this season. Now, the first line is just star after star now. McDavid, Kaprizov, Matthew Tkachuk. This alone is 20 wins. When it comes to everyone else, I just need them to play their role. Jeff Skinner, you're playing center this season. That definitely won't backfire on us. So with the addition of Kirill Kaprizov, the goal was 20 wins this season, and we were pretty close. An 18-61-3 record. We're getting there. We're almost a 20-win team, and with this next forward we bring in, we certainly will be. Kirill Kaprizov, 80 points. Connor McDavid, 74. Matthew Tkachuk, 73. This is a massive disappointment. I was expecting 100 points from each of these three guys, and none of them showed up this season. Hellebuyck, 15 wins, one shot, a 913-411. This just isn't quite good enough. Granted, I haven't really surrounded you with the greatest team quite yet. However, things are about to change, but we're about to start bringing elite player on elite player on elite player to this team. Well, maybe I shouldn't say elite player, but the guy we're bringing to the team is very good. Now, I don't really know how comfortable I am calling this player elite, but you know what? They're a really good player nonetheless. We're going to be bringing in Kevin Fiala from the LA Kings. I just feel like I shouldn't be calling Kevin Fiala elite. Like, he is a really good player, don't get me wrong. And technically, he does have elite potential, so maybe I should call him elite. I have no clue, but 87 overall, Kevin Fiala, welcome to the team. You're a very, very good player. I'm just not really sure if I would call you elite. So Connor McDavid, Kirill Kaprizov, and Matthew Tkachuk are going to be the top line. Then we have the LA line. Kevin Fiala, Kopitar, Tyler Toffoli. All those boys at one point played for the LA Kings. That's why they're going to be our LA line. When it comes to the defense, still looking great. And goaltending, that's spectacular. That's set for the rest of the video. We're never going to be adjusting this. I mean, if we do have to adjust our goaltending, then something went very, very wrong. Like, Connor Hellebuyck must be posting like a goals against of about 15 in the playoffs if that happens. Like, Connor Hellebuyck must be posting a goals against of like 15 in the playoffs if he needs to be replaced. Now, Kevin Fiala is definitely going to be a great addition to the team because with his help, 32nd in the entire league, a 21-57-4 record. I also want to mention this as I'm recording this. Cam Fowler just signed an extension with the St. Louis Blues. My initial thoughts on that: 6.1 is a dollar amount. Might seem like a lot right now, but the cap's going up, so I'm not too worried about that. I don't like a 3-year extension for somebody who's turning 34 years old in December. Granted, this is one of those extensions where it just depends on how the player ages. Like, if Cam Fowler doesn't take a significant step back these next couple years, then I have absolutely no problem with that extension whatsoever. However, I don't like giving a 3-year extension to some guy that's turning 34 years old in December. That's the only risky part about the deal. $6.1 million for what this man did for us last season, well worth it. A 3-year extension to a 34-year-old? I don't know how I feel about that, but you know what? Cam Fowler looked amazing for the Blues last year, so as long as he doesn't take any crazy steps back, I think that's going to be a great signing for the team. When it comes to the postseason, the Montreal Canadiens are Stanley Cup champions, taking down the LA Kings. I think it's about time we upgrade our defense, so how about we get one of the best defensemen in the game? Now, when Kevin Fiala first began his career, he started with the Nashville Predators. Of course, then he worked his way over to the Minnesota Wild, and then the LA Kings. But with him starting his career in Nashville, that means he played alongside Roman Josi at one point, so 92 overall Roman Josi is going to be brought to the team. I mean, Philip Forsberg wouldn't be a bad selection here either. But you know what? I think a 92 overall defenseman is just what we need. Okay, this is something that I think will drive me nuts for the entirety of NHL 26. Rasmus Dahlin, I have you on the team. You are a left and right defenseman. Just want to emphasize the part that you will also play right defense. That is your secondary position. Roman Josi, he is a left defenseman and only a left defenseman. So how about we do this? This might be a crazy idea, but the guy who has right defenseman as his secondary position is going to play right defense. I know that might be some crazy out of the box thinking, and I might not make any sense whatsoever, but just hear me out. I think this makes a little bit of sense. No, I really don't get it. I don't know why the coach does that. I don't understand why they wouldn't just have Roman Josi play on the left side and then Rasmus Dahlin play on the right side, considering his secondary position is right defense. You know what? We're not going to question it, except we absolutely will. Now, I'm not going to lie, with 2 complete defensive pairings, I was expecting this to be better. The BC Lumberjacks, a 52-10 record. I need us to be better. I need to see this team win 30 games next season. Am I asking for a little bit too much? I think so. But once we bring these next 2 players to the team, then I don't think 30 wins is going to be too outlandish for us. Now, with Nashville having a ton of great teams in the past, Roman Yosi's played with some great players. However, we have to go to the Dallas Stars for the player I'm thinking about, because Matt Duchene's going to be joining the team next. And why exactly am I going with Matt Duchene? He used to play on the Colorado Avalanche. I think that makes it pretty self-explanatory who's going to be the next selection after Matt Duchene. Now, with the addition of Matt Duchene, the top 9 is set here. Our defense is just about set. We need 2 more players. We're 5 players away from completing this team, and if I'm being honest, I don't think we're going to need 5 more players. Once Nathan MacKinnon comes to the team, I think we're going to be set. Also, if you didn't figure out we're bringing Nathan MacKinnon to the team, yeah, he's going to be the next selection. Matt Duchene used to play for the Colorado Avalanche. He played alongside Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon, welcome to the team. This is a no-brainer. Now, barring how bad some of the other teams in the NHL were, there is a chance that we weren't the worst team in the entire league, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case. The Boston Bruins had 4 more points than us, the St. Louis Blues 5, a 29-48-5 record. Technically, we had more wins than the St. Louis Blues, and that is very disappointing considering we don't have a 4th line and we don't have a 3rd pairing defense. Yeah, this game really hates my Blues. Connor McDavid, he dominated this season. 101 points, he's +3. Kaprizov, 92 points, he's +2. And then Matthew Tkachuk, he's a point a game, he's +3. So the first line having a positive plus-minus, that's something to be positive about. And then Connor Hellebuyck, 22 wins, 1 shutout, a 904 and a 368. I'm not saying that this team is going to be a wildcard team next season, but once we bring Nathan MacKinnon to the team, things might change for us. The Washington Capitals are Stanley Cup champions. That's going to be the BC Lumberjacks sooner than later. So not too much thought has to go into this selection. Nathan MacKinnon, welcome to the team. And then when it comes to our next selection, I feel like that one's also going to be self-explanatory. So Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, Kirill Kaprizov as the top line. Yeah, I think we're going to win a handful of games this season. Now, through bringing Nathan MacKinnon to the team, this is what the first line looks like. Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, Kirill Kaprizov, Matthew Tkachuk, Matt Duchene, Kevin Fiala are going to be the second line. There is a lot of amazing depth on this team. It's only a matter of time before we bring home a cup. Like, look at this defense as well. Yeah, we're building a dynasty here. Now, the BC Lumberjacks are almost there. We're going to be better than the Vegas Golden Knights this season. I mean, technically we had the exact same amount of points, but we held the tiebreaker. A 34-45-3 record. We're 1 player away. We're 1 more player away from making the postseason. Am I putting a little bit too much faith in this team? Absolutely, but you have to have faith. Nathan MacKinnon, 101 points. Connor McDavid, 96 points. Kirill Kaprizov, 90 points. We're 1 more player away from making the playoffs, and once we add an elite sniper to the team, well, we're definitely going to be dominating. Connor Hellebuyck, 25 wins, 3 shouts, a 911 and a 340. We just need to put a little bit more support in front of you, and we're definitely going to be able to add some support with these next couple players, because Mikko Rantanen, you're the easy selection here, but you also played for the Carolina Hurricanes. So after we add Mikko Rantanen, we're going to be adding Slavin to the team. So not only are we going to get a great forward, but we're eventually going to be walking away with a great defenseman. So Mikko Rantanen, you're the easy selection here. We bring one of the best in the game to the team. What can I say? 93 overall Mikko Rantanen. This is an easy selection. He's going to be playing second line minutes alongside Matt Duchene and Matthew Tkachuk. Our top 6 is going to be so elite, it doesn't matter what the bottom 6 looks like. Now we're 1 forward away from completing this team and then 2 defensemen away. But we're going to be adding Slavin with our next selection. But until then, we're going to be running this team right here. And this team might be good enough to win a Stanley Cup. Like this forward core, yes, it has a 0 overall, but just look at all the elite talents here. We're going to see success. Now, I guess we're not quite there yet. The BC Lumberjacks, 24th in the entire league, a 38-36-8 record. Slavin is going to save this team. His amazing defensive abilities are what's going to change things for us. Once we get another elite defenseman and only have 2 more 0 overalls in the team, everything's going to change for this franchise. Roman Josi was +33 this season. Brandon Montour +24. Rasmus Dahlin +25. I don't know why the second line struggled as much as they did. Like, they were actually terrible this season, and that is very surprising. You know what? We're not going to question it. Hellebuyck, you posted numbers this season. Slavin's going to be brought to the team. The Dallas Stars are Stanley Cup champions. Let's just get ready for next season, because this one was definitely disappointing. So all the Mikko Rantanen trades that happened last season are going to help us a ton, because at one point, of course, he was on the the Carolina Hurricanes. We all know this. Meaning him and Slavin are going to be former teammates. So 90 overall, Slavin's going to be brought to the team. He's going to be an elite defenseman for us, and he might be the missing piece for our franchise. Now, our defense is looking spectacular. The lowest overall right now is Brandon Montour at 87 overall. I mean, besides this 0 overall, but we're not really counting him. So if the lowest overall on this team after we replace a 0 overall player is going to be Brandon Montour, I think we're going to be in a pretty solid spot. Now, with the team that we had, I really thought we were going to make the postseason, but I guess not. 14th in the entire league, a 42, 32, and 8 record. I'm not going to lie, this is actually very surprising. Like, we only have 2 0 overalls left on the team, 1 0 overall defenseman and 1 0 overall forward. And you're telling me this team of superstars can't make the postseason because of 2 0 overall players? Like, I understand there's 0 overall players, and it's basically the equivalent of having nobody on the ice. Like, you're basically playing 4-on-5, but even still, we can't make the postseason. I don't know how I feel about that. I have definitely made the postseason with less on the team. The Chicago Blackhawks are Stanley Cup champions. That literally makes absolutely no sense, but that's beside the point. It's time for us to add one of Jacob Slavin's former teammates, and it's definitely not going to be the guy you're thinking about. Like, at the end of the day, I think we have enough superstars. We don't need any more superstars on this team. So who am I going to pick up? Elias Lindholm. Now, why on earth am I picking up 84 overall Elias Lindholm? Well, who did he play for not too long ago? The Vancouver Canucks. Who is on the Vancouver Canucks? Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is going to be a former teammate of Lindholm. So if we're not able to win a Stanley Cup this season, that's perfectly fine. We'll just add Quinn Hughes to the team next season. I think we'll be okay. Now, the forward core is now complete. Connor McDavid, Kirill Kaprizov, and Nathan MacKinnon are the top line. Mikko Rantanen, Matt Duchene, Matthew Tkachuk are the second line. Sean Monahan, Kopitar, and Fiala are going to hold down the third line. And then when it comes to our fourth line, Tyler Toffoli, Lindholm, Skinner, I think that's going to be good enough. The defense is one player away. And then when it comes to goaltending, Connor Hellebuyck, it's time for you to step up. So it's finally time for our postseason appearance. Second in the entire league. All we have to do is add Lindholm to the team, and we're going to be second in the entire league. A 51, 23, and 8 record. 1 point back of first in the entire league. It's time for the BC Lumberjacks to take over the NHL. Nathan MacKinnon, 114 points. Connor McDavid, 112. Kirill Kaprizov, 110. This helps quite a bit with us making the postseason. These 3 guys absolutely dominating. And then when it comes to goaltending, Hellebuyck, 37 wins, 4 shots, a 906 and a 303. I understand there's a 0 overall player on the team, but a 303 is absolutely ridiculous. Like, yes, there are moments in the game where we're basically playing 5-on-4, but even still, that is ridiculous considering the rest of this team. We have the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round. Let's make a statement. Like, I understand they're a 0 overall player, and these guys don't even know how to skate. But even with that, I feel like we should have a better record. I feel like Connor Hellebuyck should be performing better than he is, because that man is letting me down right now. We're moving into an elimination game, but it's not for us. It's for the Vegas Golden Knights, and we're going to shut them out. So we're moving on to the second round, and who's going to be our next opponent? The Seattle Kraken. A little surprised to see Seattle in the postseason, especially in the second round, but you know what? We're not going to question it. We're just going to take this team down to 5-game series. We have a 3-1 series lead. Let's close it out. Never mind. We're going to choke this away, aren't we? We're going to blow a 3-1 series lead. Never mind. We don't have to worry about it. We're moving on to the conference finals, and now we have the best team in the NHL. It's Connor Hellebuyck versus Connor Hellebuyck. Which Hellebuyck is going to be showing up when it matters? Well, it looks like it's going to be ours. We're going to take down the Winnipeg Jets, and we're moving on to the Stanley Cup final. This is our first Stanley Cup appearance, and we have made to the Stanley Cup final to take on the Buffalo Sabres of all teams. We are not folding to the Buffalo Sabres. I refuse to lose to the Buffalo Sabres, and it might happen unless we win game number 6, but we don't have to worry about that. We're beating the Buffalo Sabres in the BC Lumberjacks' first postseason appearance. They're going to be Stanley Cup champions. Lindholm, you were the missing piece all along. We don't even need to add Quinn Hughes to the team because we're going to be winning a Stanley Cup before he gets here. The BC Lumberjacks in their first postseason appearance are going to be Stanley Cup champions. Nathan MacKinnon, 26 points. Kirill Kaprizov, 24. Connor McDavid, 23. Matt Duchene, Mikko Rantanen, Roman Josi. All those guys performed when it mattered, and when it comes to Connor Hellebuyck, he's going to show up as well. 16 wins, 1 shot, a 926 and a 250. The BC Lumberjacks are Stanley Cup champions, and we did all of this with a 0 overall player. I guess the real question is, what does 0 overall player do during the postseason? Blue Oak was our final 0 overall player. He was +2 with 5 shots. Explain to me how he was +2, but Jeff Skinner was -3, Slavin was -2, Lindholm was -3, and Tyler Toffoli is -1. That is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that a 0 overall player had better plus-minus numbers than you guys, nah, y'all should be ashamed. But at the end of the day, you can be ashamed and Stanley Cup champions at the same time.